I'm Timmy.
I'm Justin.
I'm Nathan.
And this is Three Old Tech Dudes.
We going to school?
Yeah, we are. We're going to hit the road. We're going to do a 3 OTD on the road this week.
We're going to learn you something, aren't we?
Yeah.
Sounds like work.
So this is one we're all three familiar with.
I guess.
What have we been up to?
It's putting the network back together.
That's right. So here
Somebody
locally,
disassembled Johnny 5.
that's right.
Oh boy.
So you'll see in this upcoming segment, we've been helping volunteering. We all work in IT. We haven't mentioned that in quite a while on the channel. So that's where we make our money every day, 8 hours.
Yeah.
But there is a local school, our local public schools decided they need to close some buildings. And by the state laws we have, some of these buildings were able to go to other organizations, and a group of parents opted to start a charter school right near my house. And they, you heard that right. Parents started it. There was no money to get started. So I said, how can we help? And we go in, and when the school left, they cleaned her out. They took the cabinets out of the classrooms. That's nothing we're going to get into on the channel, but maybe they took things that they probably should have left. And that included severely dismantling the network closet.
Yeah. We'll show you a few pictures.
Which you'll see all that here in a moment. So enjoy this journey as you see how we put a school back together as a volunteer, us three and a couple other guys. So, hey guys, let me fill you in a little bit about how we got involved with this school situation. One of the local school systems in our area, on election of a new school board back in 2019, opted to close a bunch of schools. They kind of came in with an agenda, wanted to close a bunch of schools out in the county that weren't in the city that Nathan and I live in, and they cited fiscal reasons and a few other things. And there was a lot of disagreement with that maybe they should go slower and things like that. A lot of people passionately pleaded to save these county schools, and they had their agenda, and they were going to do it, and they closed them all. So in Indiana, there's a law that if a school system abandons a building, and these buildings are only like 12 years old, two of them were, and one of them was built onto with new stuff at the same time. In Indiana, they have to offer these buildings if the real estate was part of a consolidation of a public school system, which these were back in the 1960s. A couple of them were. They have to offer them back to the county township in the Indiana county that they took them from, because most of these schools were originally operated by the county townships. And this school still sits on that land. This is near my house in the community of Fayetteville. And the school system, by law, had to offer that to the township for no cost. And it was on the township to decide whether they wanted to do that. Well, it turns out there was a brave group, really, of parents and community leaders that wanted to save the county schools, one or two of them if they could, and they worked diligently to form what's called a charter school, which is a public school that is, operated under a charter from a college, I think is the best way to describe it. I'm no expert in that, but this school here was the one that was offered first, and it's one of the largest of the few, and they were able to get that by working with the township out here. And they formed a charter school they call the Lawrence County Independent Schools. It's a K through 8, and they got this building in April and had to have it ready by August, at the end of April of this year. And they got in, and Nathan and I think were in their first day. I was for sure, and they had taken out all the cabinets, and so the drywall was torn up. They removed kitchen equipment, sometimes sawing things like garbage disposals out, and just about everything but the walls. And this includes the server rack area. Now Nathan was the IT person, as we mentioned in many videos, at this school system for many years, and he was the leader of IT for this school system when this school was built. So he implemented all the IT and was over all the contractors and the like. And he ended up wanting to jump in and help, and we went in, and you'll see here in the pictures and stuff, they had just cut every network wire down both sides of the rack. They didn't leave the patch panels. Most places would leave the patch panels. You don't need to reuse those. You can, but why would you? I mean, they weren't building new facilities, they were closing facilities. So anything they could get out just about that they could legally take, they could. And I guess that's legal, it's ethical, maybe not. But so we looked this, we asked them, how can we help? Can we help you build this back? So we gave it our best shot.
Once we found out LCIS would indeed accept free IT labor help with their startup, it didn't take long to find a few more willing to help us. For the planning stages, alongside the three of us, we had Brendan Ambrose, Brooks Arnold, and LCIS board member Ryan Turner, as well as LCIS teacher Brian Young. LCIS board members Brian Grissom and Jason Lyons were also a great help. The six of us had a couple of meetings to determine direction, where we decided just what needed done, and we determined the systems that needed implemented and how to obtain them initially. Things like the Wi-Fi system, brands of switches, and pricing. The first big win was the fact that members of the community wished to donate some things. We were able to obtain enough computers and monitors, particularly from a local company, Judah Metal Recycling, that worked with some of their customers to procure lightly used computers and monitors that we were able to get working just fine. We ordered used PoE switches off of eBay to keep costs low, and also purchased 4 new 48-port Cat6 patch panels there as well. A Wi-Fi system with 20 access points were ordered new, as was a high-quality router and firewall appliance. Justin, our business phone expert in the volunteer group, found a great phone system for the building. They needed only a few phones, as the intercom system, installed by a different vendor, would provide communication with each of the rooms. The first major work evening involved imaging these donated computers with Windows 10, and the whole team helped with that along with other volunteers. All needed computers, including several spares, were prepared that night. Next, we tackled the network closet. Brandon got up in the rafters and pulled the cables off of one rafter over to the next to gain us some length. We were pleased to have a reasonable amount of length to work with on most cables, as we were not sure what we would be facing after the cables had been cut. This helped immensely with the next major task, which was plugging a trace tool into the keystone jacks in each room, punching them down to the panels, and labeling the jacks with our new numbering scheme.
And one of the most useful tools that we've used throughout this tracing of wires is a wire tracker. So you have this side that transmits it and this side that tones it out. How that works, and this has multiple functions, you turn this on, and when you get near that, it makes a noise. So how this works is you would plug this into a keystone jack, which, you know, like we mentioned, we're already still present here. And you'd go into the other room and you would make sure this one's on scan. You'd turn this on and you'd look for the wire. And when you're near the right wire in that big bundle, you get that tone. One of the most useful tools you can find out there. Then once you're done, you can set this to scan and plug this into the bottom of the tracer on this particular one. We'll put a link to this below. You hit test, you can see the LEDs. If you get 1 through 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all your conductors are correcting your wire. Whether you've wired to TS568A or B type Ethernet wiring standard.
We found it.
Which number is that, Brandon, again? I know you just told me.
48.
48. This is KB9.
Well, yeah, this is KV9 GMU, so.
After several weeks of tracing and punching, all the new equipment began to arrive on site. Nathan and Brandon got to work on setting up the switches and routing. While Ryan and Brian began installing the mounts for the access points in each room. As soon as the switches and a preliminary configuration was running on the router and firewall, we began installing the access points and brought the Wi-Fi system online. This allowed Brian Young, Ryan Turner, and others to begin setting up the Wi-Fi on the 400 Chromebooks LCIS purchased for one-to-one technology, as well as enrolling them into Google Classroom. Tablets were also configured for lower grade levels. We configured a Linux server to utilize for virtualization and got tools configured for remotely accessing the facility from home to help troubleshoot anything that goes wrong.
You win, huh?
I win. I'm on switch. First call into the office.
It lives!
Hurrah!
That's a win.
Finally, we finished the rack by stowing all the unused cables in bundles in the rafters. We also replaced the temporary extra long patch cables with shorter ones, ran permanent cables through the ceiling from the back of the rack to the fiber optic feed on the opposite wall, and got everything attached to the UPS instead of directly to the AC mains. Finally, it was time to celebrate the opening of a new school.
Three old tech dudes, you guys have knocked it out of the park. For a very, very small fee of an old time clock, you have rebuilt the entire networking infrastructure of this building from the ground up, and we would be hugely, hugely in debt without you. At this time, I'd like to ask the board to step forward, along with our founding teachers and principal, and take your places at the ribbon. On behalf of the board, Chad and I would like to officially welcome you to Lawrence County Independent Schools Fayetteville campus.
Well, that's a lot of work, guys, putting a school together.
Sure is. Yeah, my back hurts.
Back, my legs. I got real good at
Brain
punching.
hurts.
Real good at punching down Cat 6 cables.
That trick worked though, didn't it? Flipping the thing around.
Yeah.
Doing it from the other side.
I can now say Nathan taught me to punch patch panels. I can put ends on cables all day long, just the regular RJ45 ends, but I had never punched a patch panel. Never had the opportunity.
wow.
Which is strange because I've been around a lot of networks.
That's funny.
Usually I had contractors doing it and all these things I've encountered before. So
have I.
when they ran their wires and stuff.
I ran that. I learned a few of those little tricks from contractors.
There you go. Yeah.
And
So
yeah, they're good.
I don't
tricks.
think Nathan was aware. He did not know my disdain for regular Cat 5. Not Cat 5e, Cat 5.
yeah. Yeah, we actually encountered some regular Cat 5 at one point. This
made me
situation.
say some choice words.
It's like, are you kidding me? Somebody still has a box
I
of
was,
this.
I was trying to put some ends on it, and it was just ugly.
It was a rough time.
there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the radio station that
So-
broadcast for an event that one Saturday, a fundraiser. Yeah. They needed to line them.
It's just so thin that you're trying to push the cord.
We got to work, though.
Yeah.
I got some 5e at home still. I got some 6. Yeah.
5e is
I've never had
fine. I
any
don't mind
5E.
5e,
I've got
but
5E at the house,
yeah,
too.
I would still.
5E is generally
if
still
that's what I
fine in
get
most
my hands
cases.
on.
Yep.
But
Well, it's that time, fellas. Can you hear the echoes?
Oh, it's time to go home.
Can you hear the echoes?
Well, if you do this, you can hear it.
You can.
Goes the wall.
Probably can't pick that up on these 57s.
sounds like some crazy people.
57s will hear
It's
that.
time for echoes from the Asylum, that part of the show where we hear from you, the viewer,
Because we care what
from
you
your
think.
padded rooms. This week, we have a comment from a guy that I'm pretty sure actually hates us. I don't know why. He's commented several times and it's never nice. But I thought just for giggles and troll fertilization, I might as well just throw this in here. See if I can read this in the mood of which it was written. This is on the ham radio entry-level comparison, the 2-meter moguls. The most popular video on our channel ever.
That was a fun video to shoot.
This guy's name is Keith Marshall, if that's his real name. It could just be somebody that hates us we know, which is even scarier, that's using a different name. You 3 guys can't be taken seriously. No wonder you only have like 750 subscriptions, like a bunch of school kids. And there's one big run-on sentence with no correct punctuation. But he really told us, bunch of school kids.
Well,
I don't know as much to say that, but don't watch.
I'm not touching you.
I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. Here, Keith, I got a challenge for you because I've looked at your channel and you have no content. So why don't you shoot some videos and do better?
Show us how it's done.
Yeah, show us how it's done. You're such a big dog. All right.
Nah, people they just want to be that way. And that's
I know, and I'm like, well, that's fine.
So here's the funny thing.
It doesn't actually offend me because I think he's hilarious. Comment some more crap. Tell us how stupid we are.
We don't
kind of bounces right back. It's like the old saying. Anyway.
I mean, well, and the other thing, so many people don't realize, any comment, good, bad, or indifferent,
is
still a comment.
So you comment all you want, pal.
Like there's no such thing as bad publicity.
This bunch of school kids could use your help. I thought we were old dudes. People always think that we're old because we name the channel 3 Old Tech Dudes when it's really mostly just about old tech.
Well, yeah. I mean,
we're not getting any younger, though.
But we still mostly have dark hair.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I do turn 50.
What hair I have left.
Yeah. A couple of us on our farewell tour of our 30s. But
yes,
I think they call that middle age, not old.
I'm about to hit 50 here soon. So.
Hey. You are what you think you are, or what you believe. Is that what it is? I don't know if that's how age works, but it's worth a shot.
I think I was food for a brown recluse spider.
Oh, man, all chewed up. It's a rough time.
Hey, I think
legs about to fall off.
50 is the new 30, though, right?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Sure. Yeah.
Try it. So let's move on. Here we got on the vintage mainframe era hard drive platters from the Asylum here. We got a Burnout TX. That's a good screen name.
Oh, nice.
He writes, some of us old farts worked with those large platters. A head crash would wake up everyone in the room and you'd be picking out shattered drive head parts for hours.
I've heard of that one. So, man, you could probably lose a body part out of that.
Oh, boy. Yeah. So I never had a chance to, I can't say I didn't work around him. I never had a chance to really deal with any of them when they failed. We had, when I was at ITT, we had a mainframe that still used that stuff.
Oh, wow.
It was on its last leg.
He must be almost 50.
Yeah. Yeah, but I've never actually seen one fail. However, I think one of the guys I work with has seen one fail. And from what I hear, it was an adventure.
Oh my!
Send us some information. I'd just be funny to just get some stories about because you think about like the small drives now, the platters are 3 inches
so small.
Apart,
yeah,
mm-hmm. This thing's 14 inches. I mean, each platter there is enough.
You
to
check that video out. It's really a cool thing Nathan picked up. I had never seen one in person, just in pictures.
Nor had I.
It's one of those things I'm like, that'd make a really neat thing just to hang on,
absolutely,
put a wall or something like that. But
down in the 80s room there where that video was shot, actually. So.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, keep the comments coming, especially the one that's kind of, that's neat.
That's a good one.
I can imagine that it crashed on that thing would be just obnoxious.
As loud as those full, as long as those full and half height drive bay hard drives were in the 80s, I can only imagine what that thing sounded like, even just spinning up.
Oh my! Well, and of course,
our RPMs would have been lower than those, obviously. But
yeah, they probably weren't that bad. But the so like I'm one of the few people that has actually seen the effect of a CD exploding.
Oh, yeah.
In a drive, it does happen. It's kind of rare. Usually, I think the disc actually has to have an actual
a little crack in it or
something like that.
Right.
But to Guy Rumsey.
Guy? Sure.
Yeah, he had a CD explode in his drive.
Spun right up and off.
Oh, my. Yeah, and it was like, what on earth? I mean, it dented out the size of, and that's a thin little piece of plastic CD. The platter on that drive, 14 inches.
When it's flying
heavy.
Laterally, though, the CD will even mess stuff up, especially at those high-speed CD-ROMs, the multi-speeds, Right. That just meant they were at a 16x speed. It was spinning the disc even faster than 16 times normal, usually. So.
Yeah, I think
at its fastest read
speeds.
Did you
ever see one, like, pop the drawer open and not spin the drive down first?
Yeah.
I've seen that a few times. That's bad. Yeah, those are terrifying events.
It's a good comment. Yeah, it'd be great to hear more people who worked with those old mainframe systems and those drive systems. So
I will have to get some specs from one of the guys I work with and get the permission to actually tell you guys. But so apparently back in the day, where I work now had, I think it was either serial number 1 or serial number 2 of one of the more rare computers.
Oh, neat.
That,
you ought to
is
get him to tell you that story.
Yeah,
cool.
He's told
Get
me
him on
once.
Zoom, interview him. We should take a video.
Well,
if you would.
I'll ask him. But
Sure.
So apparently the Smithsonian wants the computer.
Oh, wow.
It's
Well,
that
yeah.
neat. I'll see if I can find the story for that and get that
Absolutely.
here. But it's one of those that's pretty cool too. I never saw that. I'm sure it's in one of the warehouse things that are sitting around. But yeah, I haven't seen it. But apparently it's still there. I kind of want to go find that thing now. See figure out where it's at. But
Hey, if you want your
Anyway.
comment recognized from the Asylum, echo below in the comments
down there.
box. Write a comment on this video, on any video. We've got over 80 videos now. Give it a shot. So,
Yep.
We're trucking real close to 1,000 subs. So, if you haven't subscribed, and this is your first video with us, please subscribe.
Yep.
If it's not your first video with us and you haven't subscribed,
Please
what's wrong with you?
Oh, I mean, we don't release but once a week. We're not one of those channels that'll dump 4 videos a day in there and clog up your subs feed. So
Yeah. No, we don't do
that's
that.
no fun. So
We try and make them at least either funny, useful, or just odd.
Yeah.
But, but nothing like mean or bad and like that stuff. We're not that crazy. Well, typically not that crazy.
no. Well, guess it's time for the next segment, fellers.
Oh no!
What's the next segment, Timmy?
You feel that? You feel it?
Feels kind of wavy.
It does. It's time for Welcome to the Waves. That segment of the show where we welcome a new ham to the hobby.
Yep.
This week we're going to welcome, see if I can say this right, Robert Neidlinger, KC1 POQ. That is Kilo Charlie 1 Papa Oscar Quebec. From Lincoln, Massachusetts. He's a technician.
Nice.
Welcome to the hobby.
Yep.
Welcome,
A license to learn.
Yep. He's pretty close.
Or
to
get really, really frustrated.
well,
Or both at times.
everything. Everyone goes through that a little bit, but
Yeah.
so he's not that
Close
far
to-
from W1AW.
That's right. Yeah, you can go.
Oh, sweet. He could actually go
You're
visit
riding the
that.
Hiram Percy Maxim Memorial Station. I'd like to do that someday. One of these days I'll get up that way. Never visited that part of the country. Well, hey, if you want to recognize a new ham through 3 Old Tech Dudes, to our viewers, let us know by emailing us at thedudes@3oldtechdudes.com or messaging us on our Facebook page. The links are below in the description. We always put their name in the description too, so they can, if they one of these days they'll be hunting their call sign on Google for fun, and they'll be like, "Why is this my call under this video?" And they'll be like, "Oh, look at that!" I'd kind of like it if I found KB9 SNL randomly on the internet. So happy me.
Yeah, as long as it's not in like the the rest section of
That's right, or
police
the FCC.
FCC
Local ham went
complaints,
nuts.
yeah,
Dude,
insane.
Dude, it happens.
Well, yeah.
Hey, well, that'll do it for this episode.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out, guys. And you too. Till next time, I'm Timmy,
I'm Justin.
I'm Nathan.
and this is 3 Old Tech Dudes.
See ya.
Bye.
7-3.
Thanks for hanging out with us here on 3 Old Tech Dudes. Please subscribe to us here on YouTube for more tech old and new, tinkering at the workbench, repairs, ham radio, electronics, computers, and more. Please like this video and share 3OTD with your friends to help us grow the channel. We tweet at 3 Old Tech Dudes 1 on Twitter, and you can keep up with us on Facebook. Just search for 3OTD and look for our logo. Thanks so much for watching.